Today I'm going to talk about Qualtrics and just a few functions that our office has used Qualtrics for. I actually work here at the U of M with the Office of Measurement Services. It's not here right on campus, but we're off Como and kind of tucked away a little bit. Today, just in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to introduce myself, tell you what I do, talk a little bit about OMS and its relationship to Qualtrics, as well as go over the two functions, peer feedback, how we use that, as well as quotas and trigger functions in Qualtrics. And then at the very end, I'll name some resources that you could use, online tutorials, and then I also have materials in the back with a magnet, so if you have any questions or you want to follow up or get more details on a specific function, feel free to give us a call or reach out. So my name is Tiffany Thayer, and I, again, work with the Office of Measurement Services. I'm a project manager, and I primarily work with Qualtrics and clients around campus. I do have a few external clients that are not a part of the university. One of the lead programmers, and I also investigate a lot of functionality, how do things work, what doesn't work, and I also do documentation and training manuals for our office so that we can roll things out and help people efficiently. I also do online survey awareness and outreach, so stuff like this, to talk about Qualtrics. And some of you may have heard or attended the Qualtrics Day event that was 2 weeks ago. Our office, along with the vendor, sponsored that. So that is who I am and what I do. What the relationship our office has with Qualtrics. Essentially, Qualtrics is the preferred online tool for the university because of its stringent data security. It's available actually to all students, staff, and faculty, and we encourage people to use that versus SurveyMonkey, SurveyGizmo for various reasons. And we are the liaisons with the vendor. So anytime there's a problem or we need to negotiate the license or the contract, our office works with Qualtrics, as well as serve as partnership with OIT to help resolve issues. And we're the business owners of Qualtrics, so we try to work with students, staff, and faculty to utilize the software as fast as possible. So the first thing I'm going to go over is peer feedback and how we have used that with Qualtrics. So essentially, the College of Science and Engineering contacted our office, and it was an in-class and an online class, so Moodle and in-class. And the instructor wanted to find a way to do peer evaluations that he would also get the feedback immediately, and that it would somehow only show their group, and also try to automate it as much as possible so that there was less room for error, that maybe someone doesn't remember the name of the person in the group. So they contacted us, and they needed the ability to administer the online peer feedback review for 4 different groups. Very busy individuals, most of them were all doctors working in the clinic. It had to be confidential, and he also wanted it to be automatic so they didn't have to pick anything. And he also wanted the reports to come directly to him. So what I did is I put together a detailed panel with the students, so I knew who was in what group, and it was cardio, diabetes, and I can't remember the other 2. But a panel essentially is just a fancy word in Qualtrics for a list of people who are supposed to get this survey. And I used survey display logic based on the group selection, so that when they went into the survey, which had to be an open link, they would click on it, they would sign in with what is called single sign-on, and that's just your X500 or internet ID and password. Something we're probably all used to when we log into our email account or some applications through the U of M. Then that tells Qualtrics, okay, I know who this person is, and based off of the group they select, so they select cardio, it auto-populates the people in that they're supposed to see and that they're supposed to give feedback to. or feedback on. And then to meet the reporting piece, I used email triggers, which you'll find in the Edit tab, and then you go to Advanced Options, you drop that down into Triggers, select Email, and then you can use piped in text, and you have to set a condition. This part is pretty easy to miss, so you need to remember to set the condition, otherwise if they don't hit submit, the instructor may get an incomplete email with the responses. So that is how I used Qualtrics to meet that need. And I only did it once. They took, we gave them the rights, we had them take over, and they're still using it for other classes, and they don't have to worry about data entry error. They can also monitor and track to see who has completed it, who hasn't. It's great for the student records and advising, because you can just click one link and as a PDF, and it populates all the feedback for that one person. Another thing that I liked about this, I used an open link. So you can use individual links and you can use open links. I use an open link because the instructor specifically wanted to take this link and post it to Moodle. And so that's how he was able to get that out. So my office wasn't responsible for actually collecting the data, analyzing the data. We just literally put together the mechanism so that he got what he needed and he got it to his students in the easiest way possible. The next Qualtrics function I'll talk about is quotas and triggers. The trigger part, again, there's two kinds of triggers that you can do. You can do an email trigger, or you can do panel triggers. I'm not going to talk much about panel triggers right now, but panel triggers are really nice if you do research. So I would just say, if you do types of research where you need subgroups, or you have screening at all involved in your research, I highly recommend looking at panel triggers. Okay, quotas. For the example is perfect timing actually. The example I'll give is the Qualtrics Day event. We really didn't market that too much, but after the first couple days, our sessions were getting way too close to capacity, that I was not comfortable with how close we were, and I didn't want to get myself in a situation where we had too many people signing up for sessions and not enough space. So, but I also wanted to meet the need of people registering, because there were so many sessions to choose from, and the event was about a month and a half later. I needed a way to send a confirmation email to people who had registered with the sessions they signed up for, which is going to be different for everybody. So what I did is, again, I went into the edit survey function, the tab, and I went into advanced options, and I selected quotas. That part is simple, just 3 steps. When you go to set the quotas, that part is a little more tricky. So I would, you have to set some conditions. You have to be really careful about your numbers and what buttons you push. So I just recommend, I believe there is a tutorial online for Qualtrics that talks about using the quota function. I would take a look at that. But if you do anything that is, even if it's an event, or you could use it for preparing for class. Let's say you want to do one-on-ones or group sessions with students, and you only have a set amount. You define what those time slots are. You can use quotas and use, the survey as a way to manage that. You can also set up an email trigger so that when they select the sessions that they want to attend, or the time slot that they would like to meet with you to go over their paper, or whatever it might be, they'll get an email, and you would use pipe text. You would set the conditioning, and then one thing in the body of that email that they would get, you want to make sure to pipe in the selected answers. That way they're not just getting a confirmation that they completed it, which is great, but they're getting the confirmation that they completed it, and here's the time slot they selected, or here's the sessions they signed up for. And so that also, you can set up an email trigger as well to send it to yourself too. So now every time someone registers or picks a time slot, you have that in your email as well. I didn't use that function for Qualtrics Day because there was way too many people who signed up, and I didn't want 500 emails in my account. But it was still a nice way to manage the event, and I think you could definitely use it in a research capacity, or even just in teaching and learning. So I know I briefly went over those few functions, but I do want to tell you about the resources that we have available at Qualtrics. Like I said, it is a free service to all active faculty, staff, and students. And I have had to use the Qualtrics helpline many times, and it has been very helpful. People do pick up, people do get back to you. You can also email the support@qualtrics.com, and that's fine too. I've used it as well. If you have a pressing question, go for it, use support@qualtrics.com, because then you'll get an email back with kind of a list of to-dos. I've even started getting YouTube clips coming back to me where they've told me specifically, using my specific example, how to do it. But if you need an answer right away, I recommend calling the helpline. I also, like I said, I have materials in the back of kind of what we do at OMS, but there's a great flyer, Stay Connected handout. I kind of have a little, screenshot there at the bottom right. It's blue, and those are 3 resources that we have. One, again, Qualtrics, you can use the tutorials online, you can call them. Stay connected using the Qualtrics user group. It's about 600 people. People don't get blasted all the time, but faculty, students, staff throw out a question, almost always very specific, about a Qualtrics functionality, how do you do this? People get back to each other, so it's a way to do knowledge sharing. And then, what else do we have on there? Oh, surveys.umn.edu. That is a website that our office maintains, and we send out announcements about Qualtrics features that we purchase. So file upload, offline mobile app. If you want to really stay informed about what features we are or are not buying, or even just questionnaire design or samples, all that stuff you can find is a good resource there. You can also fill out a Qualtrics consulting request form, which again can be found on the surveys.umn.edu website. So if you have a specific question, feel free to send us an email through there, and someone from our office will get back to you within 3 days to help answer your question. So again, I'm with OMS, and there's surveys.umn.edu, and our phone number. So this is our front office. If you had questions, you could always give them a call, and so they would direct you to the right person, team member who's available to help. And of course, you can take whatever materials that are back there for your reference as well. So, and that's it. That's all I have.
So we'll have time definitely at the end for questions, although Tiffany has a meter, so, but as Alex is setting up and things like that, we can take some questions too for Tiffany.
Does anyone have questions about Qualtrics in general, or